welcome to hour 2 of As Goes Wisconsin. Greg Bach is on the board. It is time for our public cervix announcement with Dr. Kristin. She is joining us, and she is not a new mom yet. So that's where we're going to start. It
is a very special day.
It is a special day, and we're waiting for news, and you came up with the best line, Dr. Lyerly.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We have breaking water news.
Oh! She sent me that last night, and I was like, oh, that's such a good line. I'm ashamed I did not think of that myself.
Dr. Lyerly, as a professional comedian, I am both angry at me and you for coming up with something so beautiful and brilliant.
Breaking water news. It's destined to be a classic.
I feel like we don't know where Kristin is at with her labor right now, but I am almost certain that she is in the hospital listening to us. And if she is pushing, it is my experience that if we can make pushing moms laugh, the laughter and the muscle contractions that laughter causes actually helps with pushing. And I have been part of births where babies come out because somebody told a good joke and moms are laughing. Wouldn't that be an amazing way for Kristin's baby to come into the world?
Well, Dr. Lyerly, I'm just going to ask the question really. So you're saying, once again, as a professional comedian, I have a new venue to work?
Yes.
Just walk right in there and be like, hey, folks, how y'all doing?
I know you didn't call for me, but here I am.
Airline food. Isn't that crazy?
That's really funny, and it's unexpected. And I always, movies that you see about women who are in labor and they're in pain and they're angry and get this thing out of me. And I just wouldn't think that would be a good time to go, so 3 pregnant women walked into a bar. I would think she might hit you.
Everybody's labor is kind of different. There are some people who are really into their labor and they're really like, it's a very internal thing as they're coping with it. And there are other people who, especially if they have an epidural and they're feeling very comfortable, they're joking around and playing games and watching movies. And it's just really like casual as you're waiting.
So what does the epidural do?
The epidural is the best thing that we have for labor pain management. It's kind of like an IV that goes into the space by your spine, and it delivers a continuous infusion of pain medication so that you can't feel anything below like your ribs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but you still have the muscle control and the strength to push your baby out. So if you've got a good epidural, and they don't always work, I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of listeners out there who have like bad epidural stories, but for most people, they work really well and they provide wonderful pain relief, and they allow you to feel much more comfortable about something that can be a really scary life event.
Oh, absolutely. It's gotta be frightening, especially for a first-time mom. And from what I understand, those epidurals are very time sensitive. They have to be administered within the right period of time. Otherwise, it's kind of too late.
Well, it depends on a lot of things, like how fast is someone's labor moving? Is it, are things going so fast that you think that they're going to deliver before they can even get the epidural, or before the epidural is actually going to provide any relief? And what does mom want? What are her goals for her labor? There are a lot of women who come in saying, I just want to do this naturally. And then once the pain starts and they start to realize like, this is really uncomfortable, it is okay. Like, nobody gives you a gold medal if you get through your labor without an epidural. So why not just be comfortable, enjoy the experience, and do whatever you need to do to make it your experience, not what other people are telling you to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's so much pressure to do things a certain way. And it's always seemed, I have 2 sisters who have children, and whenever they talk about it, it's always like the labor Olympics. Well, I was in labor for 22 hours. That's nothing. I was in labor for 97 days. It's
you're doing it wrong.
But it does seem to be like I endured more agony than you, and therefore I am better.
It's like the pain Olympics.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, think about what a huge day this is. This is, as animals, which we are fundamentally, our whole reason is to procreate. So this event is a huge part of our lives. So no wonder. I mean, everybody wants to feel like this, like theirs was some sort of an Olympic event. And why not? Like, enjoy it. Be proud of what you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not trying to denigrate it. I've just always said to my sisters, it's like you're having a competition for
And they are.
who was more miserable. So if you're just joining us, Dr. Kristin Lyerly is with us until 11:30. It is our public cervix announcement. And a reminder, you can always text in questions at 844-967-2789 or shoot us an email at asgoeswisconsin@civicmedia.us if you have questions for her for next week. She is here every Thursday with us starting at 11 o'clock. So, Dr. Lyerly, when Kristin has LJ, what happens with your body? So you've released this person who you've been hanging, your body's been taking care of it for 9 months. Is it a real slow change? It's not like your hormones automatically snap back and it's just zing.
Well, once this little parasite leaves your body.
That's her nickname, Little Parasite.
Oh, Dr. Lyerly bringing the truth.
She's on fire
They
today.
are, though. They are kind of like parasites. They, drain your body of energy and nutrients and calcium and all of these things. But, we're happy to provide this for them as long as we don't have to endure a forced pregnancy. So that's a good thing. So,
Yep.
but the pregnancy isn't over when the baby comes out. And I think it's really important. If you are a politician in Wisconsin right now, I think it is really important for you to recognize that just because the baby is out does not mean the pregnancy is over. It takes a year for someone's body to recover from a pregnancy.
It takes a year?
It really does. Of course, the initial recovery is rapid. A lot of changes happen right away. The uterus kind of, shrinks down. The uterus is just a big muscle. So the uterus shrinks down right away. Your hormones change. Of course, there's bleeding. So, the bleeding kind of tapers off. But there are so many things that are going on that this is a really important time for you as a patient, as a person going through this, to pay close attention to what's happening. And if something seems off, you gotta report it, because this is a time when heart conditions can develop, blood pressure problems can develop, blood clots can develop. And those are all things that are obviously bad. But then you're dealing with breastfeeding, and you're dealing with, maybe you have hip pain or leg pain or, other things associated with the actual birth event. There is a lot going on, especially in that first couple of weeks. Recently, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommended that we do a postpartum visit. It used to be at 6 weeks. Now we want you coming back at 2, because so much is happening. Yes, but that's not magic. Like, don't wait until 2 weeks if something is wrong. Call your doctor. There are way too many bad things that can happen in the postpartum period. And actually 2/3 of the moms who die associated with their pregnancy die in the postpartum period. So don't mess around with that time.
Is that widely known, Dr. Lyerly?
I don't think so.
Do you think our male politicians understand that?
Our male politicians think that women can shut their pregnancies down themselves just by wishing. Of course, they don't know this.
That's true. We have heard male politicians actually testify that that's the case, that the body will reject a pregnancy if it doesn't want it. I mean, and I've heard people in Wisconsin, male politicians in Wisconsin, say the pregnancy is over. So why do we have to extend Medicaid to make sure that these moms can get care? I know, but I mean, these moms are dealing with breastfeeding issues and mental health issues and addiction issues and blood pressure issues. They need support, they need access, and they need us as a community to stand behind them. If we truly care about moms and babies, that's what they need.
Dr. Lyerly, I wanted to ask you a question from a non-baby having person. As a partner, what can a partner, whomever it is, what can they do in the delivery room if they so choose to be there to help, comfort, support? Are there any stories or things you've seen that say those are the things to do? I mean, because it seems obvious, of course, what to do, but are there specific things? Because in that time, in that room, stuff's happening and it can get full of pressure and there can be emotion. So what can a partner do to just help, even if it's just stand back and say, I will do nothing.
That is a wonderful question. There's so much going on in the delivery room at that time. And I always think about if there is a man present, the partner, the husband, what is he thinking? Or, even if it's a female partner, when you are not the person who is the center of attention, who's going through all of this, what are you going through as you're watching someone you love and care about do something so extraordinary, but so like horribly hard and life changing? And every event is different. So I've had dads catch their own babies. Like literally,
Wow.
we've gotten them up and put gloves on them and they've gotten in there and they've done the deliveries. I've
Yeah.
had dads just flat pass out and we've had to like give them medical attention. A lot of it depends on the dynamic. Sometimes women in labor want massages and they want a cool compress on their forehead and they want you to be, there snuggling. I've had dads climb into beds behind moms and help them push. It's
I love
so
that.
cool when
I
they
love
like
that.
when they are finding their groove and they can get engaged and it's working for that dyad. That is amazing. I've also had dads just sit over in a corner because I think it's overwhelming. So, there are many times where the nurses are just checking in with them and, we're making sure that dad feels comfortable and welcome in this space that he needs to feel comfortable in. So, Greg, I love your question because dad's part of this too. Like, this is not just about a mom and a baby. This is about all of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Kristin Lyerly will be back with us on the other side of the break. We hope you will stick with us too. You're listening to As Goes Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. Jane Matt there in for Kristin Bry. Greg Bach is on the board, and it is our weekly Thursday segment, Public Cervix Announcement with Dr. Kristin Lyerly, and we are talking about little mama and what she's probably going through right now and what the partner should do in the room during delivery. My question, Dr. Lyerly, is what should friends do once LP comes? Now, for little parasite.
I love that. Well, it really kind of depends. Again, everybody's pregnancy is different. So I think something that you can do to show support, everybody needs support. Maybe bring a meal over, send a card. If you send a text or some sort of communication, don't expect something back. They're going to be really, really busy for the first couple of days, probably not sleeping, trying to figure out a groove, but maybe just, sharing a little message of support that you're available if there's anything that they need. And, if you're close, maybe something a little bit even more invasive, like dropping something off, pack of diapers on the front porch, something like that. But it's support more than anything that people need during that immediate postpartum period.
But it needs to be hit and run support. It's like, don't drop by and expect them to invite you in and have coffee and snacks. For me, that would be a nightmare. You know what I mean? Your hair is dirty and you don't feel good and the baby is crying and the last thing you need is some unannounced company, right?
Well, and your boobs are leaking and you're bleeding all over the place. Like physically, you're really not in a place where visitors.
Is a good thing.
Knowing Kristin, she'll be all tidied up and she'll be perfect. But I can tell you, like me postpartum, I was like, what time of day is it?
Yeah.
Is there food? Like, everything is all messed up because your clock is all messed up. And so little things like, can I pick something up from the grocery store for you and leave it on your front porch without any obligation to have any sort of social interaction? Or, maybe you reach out with a text and she says, I could really use somebody to talk to. Bing, there you go. Try to be available.
And remember, it's not about us
No.
as her friends and people who love her.
Yeah.
It's about Kristin and LP and Mike.
Because honestly, there's sometimes a competition that happens with the non-baby having. Like, I saw the baby first.
Exactly.
I got the picture first. I got the text first. I got the call first.
I'm the special friend.
Yeah, you will see the baby when it's your time, and that time will be decided by the parents. And that goes for the grandparents, the uncles, the aunts, the friends, everyone. Wait your turn. You will get there.
And if you are patient and you wait your turn, then your rank will move up in Kristin's list because you were
This
being
is-
obnoxious and needy.
This is why I love Dr. Kristin Lyerly. She understands strategy.
Absolutely. 844-967-2789. You can always text if you have a question for Dr. Lyerly from the 715. I'm not sure, Dr. Lyerly, if you know this off the top of your head, but I'll throw it at you anyway. I've heard that pregnant people are eligible for Wisconsin's Forward Health Plan, even as a secondary insurance to cover costs that the primary insurance doesn't. Do you know any details about this? And if this is true, why is this not widely known?
That is a great question. I do not know the answer to that, but your healthcare provider should know that. Every pregnant person in Wisconsin has healthcare coverage through Wisconsin's Badger Care program. So if you are pregnant and you cannot afford your own healthcare coverage, and of course you have to meet that income standard,
Sure.
but if you can't afford your own healthcare, you can get Badger Care. We want you to come in to be seen, to receive the kind of prenatal care that you need. There are plenty. We are romantic about pregnancy. We feel like people have been doing this forever. It's fine. It's not fine. There are so many things that can go wrong, and so many things that if we know about it in advance, we can head off at the pass. We can educate, we can support. So if you are pregnant and you don't have healthcare coverage and you qualify for Badger Care, please come on in, get plugged in. Let us help you. Let us help you.
It can be, I mean, as you said, there can be complications. Things can come up during delivery. It can be a very, very expensive process delivering a baby, right?
Super expensive. Well, I mean, healthcare in general is the number one reason in this country why people go bankrupt.
Right.
And before Obamacare, it was common for health insurance to carve out pregnancy coverage. So you might, I know, isn't that crazy?
What?
I'm looking at Jane's face. So you might have insurance coverage through your job. You might have had insurance coverage through your job, and your job may have just chosen not to cover pregnancy. So which is the number one reason why women of reproductive age end up needing medical care. So tell me that's not discrimination.
Do you know why that is, Jane? Because the people writing the legislation and the rules look like me.
No, they don't.
Fair. You're right. You're right. At one point, maybe, but not so much now.
I find that genuinely shocking. I really do. Like, this is some aberration that only a couple women ever get pregnant, so we don't need to cover for this. That's remarkable.
Oh, but still now, insurance companies, there have been a number of hits on Obamacare. So there are some companies that don't have to offer contraception coverage, right? We all heard about Hobby Lobby.
Right.
There are Catholic hospitals that won't provide any contraception, including sterilization. So I could have a patient who comes in and I do their C-section. I'm literally looking at their fallopian tubes, and I cannot do their sterilization procedure because we're in a Catholic hospital.
Dr. Kristin Lyerly joins us every Thursday at 11 o'clock for Public Cervix Announcement. It should be a much different show next week. We're all very excited.
Yeah.
We're all very, very excited. Thank you so much.
Let's all send our love to Kristin and baby LP.
That's right.